10 cents. That's what it costs to completely transform your immune system, your hormones, your hair, your liver, and your mitochondria. 10 cents a day. And the craziest part? Almost nobody is doing it. Because almost nobody knows about the single most underrated mineral in nutrition. We're talking about selenium. And specifically, we're talking about the one food that contains so much of it, scientists still aren't entirely sure why. The Brazil nut. Now here's what makes this so interesting. If you line up every food on the planet and rank them by selenium content, nothing comes close to the Brazil nut. Not fish, not meat, not any other nut. The gap is enormous. And by the end of this, you'll understand exactly why that gap exists, what selenium actually does inside your body at a cellular level, and how just 2 nuts a day could be the single cheapest health intervention you ever make. We'll also cover toxicity, because yes, you can overdo it. But the dose we're talking about? Completely safe, completely affordable. And the results speak for themselves. Let's start with the basics. Selenium is a trace mineral. Your body needs it in tiny amounts, but those tiny amounts do massive work. And the problem is, most people are flat out deficient. The soils are depleted. The foods most people eat don't contain meaningful amounts. And a lot of the processed foods people consume actually deplete selenium from the body. So you're not just failing to get enough. You're actively losing what little you have. 2 Brazil nuts. That's all it takes. 2 Brazil nuts per day delivers somewhere between 135 and 180 micrograms of selenium. That's over 1,000% of the recommended daily value, and it costs you roughly 10 cents. Find me another health intervention with that kind of return on investment. You can't. So what does selenium actually do? Let's start with something everyone cares about. Hair. Selenium works directly with enzymes involved in producing keratin, the protein that makes up your hair. When selenium levels drop, hair starts thinning. The building block is missing, so the structure weakens. People spend hundreds of dollars on hair products when the underlying issue might be a trace mineral deficiency that costs a dime to fix. Now let's talk hormones. Selenium plays a direct role in testosterone production. And before you tune out thinking this only matters for men, testosterone is a precursor to estrogen. Women need it too. It's foundational for both sexes. Selenium acts as an antioxidant that protects the cells responsible for producing testosterone in sperm. That's why selenium supplementation has been shown to increase both testosterone levels and sperm count. On the female side, selenium supports ovarian function as well. So whether you're trying to conceive or just trying to maintain healthy hormone levels as you age, this mineral matters. But here's where I really want to dig in, because this is the part most people miss entirely: the immune system. Drop a comment if you've been eating clean, exercising, taking your vitamins, and still getting sick more than you think you should. Because selenium might be the missing piece nobody told you about. Your immune system has a specific type of cell, called the T helper cell. Think of it as the general in the war room, coordinating the entire defense operation. It doesn't fight directly, it orchestrates. It tells other immune cells where to go, what to attack, when to ramp up, and when to stand down. Without adequate selenium, the number of T helper cells drops, and when that number drops, you become vulnerable, not just to common infections. We're talking increased susceptibility to pathogens, chronic inflammation, and even cancer. T helper cells have subtypes: Th1 and Th2. These two need to exist in a very precise ratio. When that ratio gets thrown off, the consequences are serious. Allergies, autoimmune conditions, increased cancer risk. Your immune system needs to be alert enough to catch threats, but controlled enough not to attack your own tissue. Selenium is the raw material that feeds this entire system. Without it, the balance breaks down. And here's something that connects to another massive deficiency most people have: vitamin D. If you're low in both selenium and vitamin D at the same time, your immune system is running on fumes. These two nutrients work synergistically. Being deficient in one is bad. Being deficient in both is a recipe for chronic health problems. These T helper cells require enormous amounts of ATP energy to function. Your body is constantly producing energy at the cellular level, and that process generates oxidative stress. Selenium acts as a shield against that oxidation. It protects the very cells responsible for keeping you alive and healthy. Your T helper cells also control whether your body generates a fever. That fever response, the one most people try to suppress with medication, is actually a coordinated immune response regulated by cells that depend on selenium. Selenium helps prevent an overreactive immune response. It tells the system when to fight and when to calm down. Vitamin D does something similar. These two nutrients are the brakes on your immune system. Without them, the system can spiral out of control. And this is exactly how autoimmune diseases develop. The T helper cell is supposed to prevent your immune system from attacking your own tissue. When it's starved of selenium, the immune system starts generating antibodies against itself. Your body turning on itself because the command center didn't have the resources to maintain order. So when people ask why they developed an autoimmune condition, the answer often traces back to missing fundamentals: low vitamin D, low selenium, chronic stress. And the most fixable of those factors? The 10-cent mineral most people have never thought about. Now, selenium also builds glutathione. If you've spent any time researching health, you've probably heard glutathione called the master antioxidant. That title is earned. Glutathione is the primary detoxification agent in your liver and throughout your entire body, and you literally cannot produce it without selenium. Selenium is a direct precursor. Think about what your body deals with daily: pesticides on produce, herbicides in the water supply, heavy metals, microplastics, environmental pollutants you can't even see. All of it ends up in your liver. And your liver's ability to process and neutralize those toxins depends heavily on glutathione levels, which depend on selenium. The chain is direct and non-negotiable. Some people try to deal with toxin exposure by avoiding everything: eating only organic, filtering every drop of water. Reducing exposure is smart, but completely eliminating it? Nearly impossible. A more practical strategy is to make sure your body's detoxification system is running at full capacity. And that starts with selenium. Glutathione also protects cell membranes throughout your body. Those membranes get damaged by seed oils, environmental toxins, and oxidative stress. But when toxin exposure goes up, glutathione gets used up faster, so you need a consistent supply of the raw materials, which brings us back to those two Brazil nuts. Beyond the immune system and detoxification, selenium supports healthy skin, plays a role in normal insulin production, and is essential for mitochondrial health. Your mitochondria, the energy factories inside every cell, depend on selenium to function properly. Without it, mitochondrial damage accumulates. And when we talk about declining hair quality, dropping testosterone, weakening immune function, at the cellular level, we're really talking about mitochondrial damage. Selenium also increases GABA production in the brain. GABA is a neurotransmitter that calms the nervous system. More GABA means less anxiety, more calm, better sleep. For something that costs 10 cents a day, the range of benefits is honestly hard to believe until you look at the biochemistry. Now here's the part that's genuinely wild. Why does the Brazil nut contain so much selenium? The Brazil nut tree grows in the Amazon. These trees live to be 500 to 1,000 years old. What makes them unique is their root system. The roots extend extraordinarily deep into the earth, reaching layers of soil where trace minerals accumulate that surface-level plants never touch. But it gets even more interesting. The tree works with a specific fungus in the soil. This fungus breaks down mineral deposits and makes them available to the root system. A symbiotic relationship that developed over centuries. The fungus mobilizes the selenium, delivers it to the roots, and the tree pulls it all the way up through its massive trunk and into the nut. That seed needs its own immune system to survive. It needs protection against fungus, viruses, and pathogens in the Amazon environment. So the tree loads it with selenium as a defense mechanism. What humans are doing by eating Brazil nuts is piggybacking off an immune defense system that a 1,000-year-old tree spent centuries developing. We're borrowing the survival strategy of one of the oldest living organisms in the Amazon. The forms of selenium in a Brazil nut are bioactive for humans. The selenium exists in a protein-bound form that your body can easily absorb and use. It's one of the most bioavailable sources on the planet. Now, toxicity. Can you overdo it? Technically, yes. If you ate 10 to 20 Brazil nuts every single day for months, you could potentially develop selenium toxicity. But that's at 5 to 10 times the dose we're discussing. 2 nuts a day is well within safe limits. 2 nuts, 10 cents, every day. This might be the simplest health upgrade that exists. A 1,000-year-old tree in the Amazon, pulling minerals from deep in the earth, concentrating them into a single nut that costs almost nothing and supports your immune system, your hormones, and your brain chemistry all at once. If this changed how you think about something as simple as a nut, subscribe. We break down topics like this every day,